What happens to people when we have no meaning, no purpose, no direction? We end up having no life. Surprise, surprise, the cultures in which you see that, you see the highest levels of suicide. What gets you up in the morning is what gets you up in the morning. If there's nothing to get you up in the morning, nothing gets you up in the morning. If there's nothing to get you up in the morning, there's nothing to convince you to live. So you take away all of that from people. You take away their hope, take away their meaning, take away their purpose, and we're going to be surprised by those kinds of results that we get. This is something that every psychologist since the beginning of psychology is telling us. Every sociologist is telling us this. Every psychiatrist is telling us this. We can't hear it though because we have AirPods in. Or we just don't want to hear it. I guess you can never say no one told you, right? You best use AI to grade my papers. Then you can submit AI stuff to the AI grader, and then we can give AI a good grade or a bad grade, depending on how AI performs. It's almost like it won't even need students anymore someday, you know? I guess I'd put it this way. Why would it bother somebody at all if you just straight up use ChatGPT for all of your work? What impact does that have on my life? Yeah. Yeah, but why would that bother me? Yeah, so why would that bother me? I've got my degrees. I've got my career. Yeah.
Your job is to teach us, and AI is not really teaching us?
Kind of. My job is to give you the opportunity to teach you. You know that teacher who stays up late at night worrying about their students? Yeah, I'm not that guy. You have parents. Yeah. It creeps me out when I hear teachers that will refer to their students like, you know, our kids. I'm like, no, y'all are not my kids. Probably. Although the 2000s were kind of crazy, but probably not. So when I hear teachers over here like, oh, you know, these are our kids, we have to, you're not their parent, man. You guys have parents, or you don't. In either case, you know, you've got, 6 teachers, 4 years, 24 teachers. You really have 20, is anybody like comforted by the idea that you have 24 parents? You might have some teachers who you admire for certain things, who you look up to for certain things. You might have some teachers, I hope that you guys have some teachers who are positive role models for you. But if you don't, that's really not the teacher's job. I told you earlier, I am not a role model. People always freak out about that. Teachers get upset about that. Why do you tell your students you're not a role model? Because I'm not. I spend most of my time punching people in the face when I'm not here. Does that sound like a role model to you?
Yes.
So again, it goes back to this idea that I give you the opportunity to learn, but it's interesting. So we'll have students who will complain about the teacher who says, hey, I get paid either way. We hate that. By the way, I hate that too. I do hate that too. But what incentive do we give otherwise? And teachers are giving work, and the purpose of the work is not to keep you busy. It's to teach you a skill set that you're going to need, that you could use in your life. And I asked that question, like, so you're going to use ChatGPT to do your resumes? And the answer for most people is yes. Okay. Are you going to use ChatGPT to do your job when you get a job? If I can, yes. You see the problem there? If ChatGPT can do your job, how long are you going to have that job? Why on earth would someone pay you rather than just using AI? In fact, some people who worked at McDonald's are finding that out right now. They push for a higher minimum wage, so they got to pay employees, what, it's $15 an hour, is it? 20 an hour? Why the heck would you pay someone $20 an hour to stand there and ask you, what would you like to order? When you could just buy a kiosk, an electronic one, to do it, you pay it once, and that's it. There's no workers' compensation insurance, there's no payroll for it, there's no calling in sick, there's nothing. But here's the thing, who's to blame for that? Now we could say, that's just the way technology goes. Yeah, maybe. But also, I mean, I kind of think of it like, if you have a job, and then they come in and they say, hey, look, we're going to be getting rid of you because you cost too much. So we're going to hire somebody else who works for less, But for the next 2 weeks, you're going to train them on how to do your job. You come to work every day for the next 2 weeks, like looking forward to it. All right, let me hire my replacement who's going to do it for less. But that's exactly what we do with AI, because we outsource it. You know, and I said there are applications for it, but the problem becomes when the application is we want it to think for us, because then you get dependent on it to think for you. But moreover, what that does is it means that you never learn how to, and then we're going to be shocked when AI replaces us. Like there are certain, like for example, it's not, and here's the thing, it's not, this isn't just like a bitching at students thing. I saw this article last week, I still have it. They looked at doctors who diagnose diseases, and then they, you know, who just kind of, that's their job. They trained them on using AI to help do it, and they had them do that for a few months, and then they had them to go back to, you know, not using the AI. And what they found was that they had a certain percentage of being right, AI helped, and then when they went back to not using AI, their ability to do it after just a few months dropped dramatically. Which means like just after a few months of having something help them, they completely forgot, they got less good at doing it themselves. So I guess now here's that question. You go through medical school, you go through your residency, you spend a decade or so being a doctor, then you become a diagnostician, so your job is to diagnose diseases. What do we need you for? Can't we just use AI to diagnose these things? Can't we just put the numbers into AI and have it tell us what's wrong with you? If it's going to be, even if it's only as accurate as a human doctor, it doesn't cost the same as a human doctor. That doctor is earning $250,000 a year probably. Well, if that was your hope for the job, then you're done. You know, it's like like I said, the issue is not that we use it. The issue is that we use it in ways that it replaces our ability to do something. I don't know if that makes sense. And the problem is, I feel like whenever we talk about that, there's this sense of like, oh, you're just mad about it because you're a teacher. No, I can already think. I've actually trained the people who actually train the AI. I have a former student who I mentioned before, he works with NASA. His specific job in AI is perception. In other words, one of the problems that I shouldn't say it's a problem with AI. One of the issues with AI is that it doesn't inhabit a physical world. What that means is that it doesn't have a sense of perception. So if you program an AI and then tell it to do something like in the real world, how can you tell AI to go north? There is no north in relation because it's not a physical thing. But then when we try to put AI into robots, it still doesn't have the ability to perceive the world around it. It's just inside of it, it's just embodied. In other words, perception depends upon embodiment. You have to be inside of a physical thing for the physical world to make any sense at all. It's kind of complex. If you're not following it, it's not a huge deal, but it's a really huge problem. His job is, he just finished his PhD. He's working on trying to develop perceptual abilities for AI. And I was asking him, is this possible? And he said, between us, yeah. He goes, no, because perception depends upon embodiment. You have to be inside of something. And I go, is that going to stop people from trying? He says, nope. And they're pouring a lot of time and energy into this. There's a lot of great applications for it. But this is one of those things when I think, man, you're getting rid of yourself and you don't even realize it. For ease. And then that question becomes, what do we do with that time? Like, when we invented the washing machine, what did the washing machine do? Man, now you just dump clothes in, turn it on, walk away from it, come back, throw it in the dryer, walk away from it. Something that used to take you a day or 2 full days just to wash and dry and then hang up and dry, bless you, now can be done in literal minutes because the actual labor time of you putting stuff from one place to the other is just minutes. That freed up a whole bunch of time. And around the same time now we have the vacuum cleaner, which can now clean floors, so you don't have to be down there on your hands and knees scrubbing, which saves you hours every day. In other words, technology used to be a thing that we would create in order to generate more time for us so we could become more efficient. What would you do with that time? And that becomes inevitably the question, what do we do with that time? And overwhelmingly, I wondered, the whole purpose of something like an AI application for doing our work for us is so that we don't have to do the work. Okay, so then what are we taking up our time with? Are you therefore turning around and writing the great American novel? Are you there for using that time to learn how to launch rockets into space? Because here's the thing, there are people doing that. It's just a smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller group of people. So now you have a mass of people, literally billions, coming up in the next 10 years or so, who will have nothing to do. And if you've got nothing to do, what do you orient your life around? Oh, I want to just, I don't know, entertainment. You got to pay for it somehow, don't you? So what kind of a job can you get? That's all it's going to be, is a job. Because careers, especially things that require that level of thinking, way easier to pay AI. Because if you're gonna cheat anyway and use AI, why not just go straight to AI? Why pay you a penny at all? It's not necessary. So now we're out there bumbling around with no job, and not having a job means not having a purpose for life, not having any meaning orientation, nothing that gets us up in the morning, nothing that drives us forward. It makes it very difficult for us to provide for families. Surprise, surprise, there are fewer and fewer people having families today. Why would you? Can't take care of them. You don't have any meaning or purpose. What bothers me as a teacher about it is not people are going to cheat. People have always cheated. The problem is how pervasive it is, but it's more of, you sit there and go like, oh my God, you're walking towards like a person who has a blindfold on and they're walking out into a street and you know something terrible is going to happen, but the person doesn't want to hear it. They got their AirPods in there, and they're being entertained to death as they walk out into something that they can't possibly understand. And then you look to the people who can do something about it, and you're like, hey, we should stop this. And they're like, seems like a lot of work. It's the future. Like these are lives. These are lives that they're going to lack meaning, purpose, opportunity. Isn't that worth fighting for? Don't be too pushy with it. Just don't be so hard on them. It isn't out of a hatred. It's out of a complete opposite. It's a willingness to be hated because of a love, because of an understanding about where it goes. What happens to people when we have no meaning, no purpose, no direction? We end up having no life. Surprise, surprise. The cultures in which you see that, you see the highest levels of suicide. What gets you up in the morning is what gets you up in the morning. If there's nothing to get you up in the morning, nothing gets you up in the morning. If there's nothing to get you up in the morning, there's nothing to convince you to live. So you take away all of that from people. You take away their hope, you take away their meaning, you take away their purpose, and we're going to be surprised by those kinds of results that we get. Again, the whole purpose of technology used to be to make our lives, used to be to free up time so that we could do other things. And yet now we have more free time than ever, but we don't have those things to do. And this is something that every psychologist since the beginning of psychology is telling us. Every sociologist is telling us this. Every psychiatrist is telling us this. We can't hear it though because we have AirPods in. Or we just don't want to hear it. And the world won't listen. So, I don't know. I guess you can never say no one told you, right? You best use AI to grade my papers. And you can submit AI stuff to the AI grader, and then we can give AI a good grade or a bad grade, depending on how AI performs. It's almost like it won't even need students anymore someday, Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, suggestions? Yeah.